Item, Superintendent, would you like to introduce?
Yes, thank
please?
you. Good evening again. The purpose of this item is to provide notice of classified layoffs not later than 60 days prior to the effective date of the layoff. I might add that I know this is a difficult item for everybody, and more difficult for the employees involved. And at the same time, I also know that it's critical that we make these changes in order to ensure that we can be fiscally headed down the strongest road possible right now. And as you will see in the item following this, Ms. Sue's analysis will be based on these recommendations.
I think we have many folks here for public comment on this item, so why don't we turn to public comment? Yes.
So, good evening. I'm Kathy Rollins, and I'm a staff person for the California School Employees Association. And I have the honor of representing the classified employees in this district, though it's interesting being here when we're looking at you're eliminating 30% of the classified staff the week before Classified Employee Appreciation Week, and having guiding principles of professional expectations and a sense of family. We know that this is a very difficult financial and in terms of educational accomplishment time for this district, but the importance of the positions that are being recommended for elimination, we don't understand how the district will be able to fulfill your fiduciary and other responsibilities and eliminate these positions. So, for example, in this district, our understanding is you have 2 employees who handle finances. You have 1 administrator and 1 classified person. That classified person is recommended for elimination. So to us, that means you're going to take all of the payroll, benefits, accounts, and all those kinds of things and put that on someone else in the district to do, when this has been a district that in the past has had to have state assistance dealing with financial things. So how is it possible that one person can do everything financial for this district? It's hard enough to imagine it with just 2 people, but there is no other person that this could be given to unless it's somebody who is an administrative level, which means you're transferring the work to someone who makes more money to do the work that we get paid less money to do. And for the secondary level office manager, somehow you have someone who spends 8 hours a day servicing the principal and the faculty and staff at that school, and is responsible for the phones and the medical and things and all of that. All of a sudden there's going to be someone who has the room to take on 8 hours of doing that, where right now each school typically at least will have a principal, a school secretary, and then teachers. We're saying we don't need a school secretary, or here called an office manager, to do the job. The same kind of thing for the registrar. There's one person doing the entire district. And then, for example, the instructional assistant PE, for years, that's the one person that's been doing that for the elementary school students, not the only classified, the only person, period. And so you're now saying there will be no one unless you have someone that you bring on permanently, I guess at a certificated level, to do that. And then last but not least, we have the instructional assistants who've played such a big part at Anna Yates and what it will mean for them to no longer be there. When you look at their years of service here, not to mention that their many years being certified teachers in a different country, the loss that that would mean. But the loss to a community where you have a number of people coming in who English isn't the first language, who are immigrants and need to be able to relate to people who can assist them in doing the best that they can and get the most that they can for their children out of the schools. So it's just unimaginable that this district can function without these positions. And so we're told it's due to finances. But when we look at what's been provided tonight, there's no financial amount even identified here as to what you expect to gain from the elimination of these positions. And there isn't something that at least to the lay person is identifiable as to how you're going to make up for some of these services, at least, that you would think would be required for a normal district. So we urge you to re-examine this list of positions and consider what actually can be done if you want to continue to consider yourself a viable district. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rollins.
All right, my name is Tony Rogers. I am a math and science teacher at Anna Yates Elementary School. I want to make a plea to the board that you really closely examine our hiring and firing practices. And for a district who's about to lay off 7 people, how does it look if we offer a $5,000 signing bonus to incoming teachers? What message does that say to our veteran teachers? What message does that send to everyone else when we say we don't have these monies, but we are able to secure funds to give someone a signing bonus of $5,000 to come to our district? We just need to think about that. Some of our guiding principles, I know they're changing the principles now, but our guiding principles are that we vow to end classes and racist practices, and we create a sense of family. And I don't know if I really get family. And I said this the last time coming to these meetings, and I'm just being honest. And it's important that we really look at these things, and this is not about any particular person, but when we talk about numbers and we talk about positions, we're actually talking about human beings that we're moving around. And so I think if we are going to do these things, that we need to be fair about this. How is it possible that our VP was able to tell someone that these women were going to be laid off, they're not going to be here next year months ago? How is that people were overheard that there were going to be many layoffs months ago? How is that possible? So if these layoffs are based on these financial numbers, how is it possible for people to know about this months ago? And so if we're going to lay off people, we need to be fair with this process, and we need to be humane. And that's all I'm asking, is that we please examine our hiring and firing practices. Anna Karita Allen's position was changed, it was rewritten, and she left. Then that position was rewritten, and someone was brought in with that same position that was rewritten out at the beginning of the year. We need to examine our hiring and firing practices. There have been other people who have been brought into this district who are still gainfully employed, they haven't been pinked. And so I think that's really, we need to really, I can't examine that, I don't have access to it. Please examine our hiring and firing practices. This is not personal to anyone else. I know there are teachers who feel intimidated, they are afraid to come out and speak, but I know we're all asking each other for recommendations to leave. So if something is impacting your entire teacher corps, and your veteran teachers and your veteran employees, people who have dedicated decades of their life, some people who have, their children have gone here from kinder through 12th grade. Not only are they teachers, but they obviously believe in our district because they let their kids get educated here from K through 12. So they gave a major part of their lives, their service and their children. And what message does that send out to other teachers, other people who probably plan to retire here? And if you get at the end of the totem pole, well, if we decide to write you out, we're just going to write you out. Let's please be humane and think about that. Please examine closely, scrutinize our hiring and firing practices, but how can we offer a 5,000 sign-on bonus to an incoming teacher and tell everyone else we're giving them the boot?
Mr. Rogers?
Audrey Miles, kindergarten, Anna Yates. This is very emotional for me. So I'm going to have to read this because I can't do it. I don't know what we would do without the dedication and the support of Ms. Hessel, Ms. Plaha, and Ms. Saini. Ms. Saini and Ms. Plaha have been with us for almost 17 years. They are a viable part of our classroom routines. They are not aides, they are our partners in education. They support us daily with our children. We are able to provide small group instruction. We are able to do pullouts. Students who would have not be achieving right now are achieving because of Ms. Plaha and Ms. Saini. We have a student who's from Yemen. We have students who speak Arabic, who don't speak English, who came in as kindergartners, who were not performing. We sat down as partners in education and provided goals for our students to work together. Ms. Plaha and Ms. Saini are essential to that. They are also part of our community where they work with our parents and they support us by translating for us. This district promised to keep cuts away from the classroom. How can we continue to perform as a high-performing district and make the gains by lessening our achievement and taking out essential parts of our staff? How can we say, just last year or 2 years ago, we were one of a few districts who were reaching the achievement gap, and that is because of the support and services of aides like Ms. Saini and Ms. Plaha. Ms. Hessel is not just a yard supervisor. She is an essential part of our community. She works with PTO, she works with parents. She works with our peace program. She supports anything you ask her to do. She works overtime and comes in extra. She supports the district as a dedicated employee, going over and beyond the call of duty to support our children. Peacemaking with students who have behavior problems, she supports us on the yard. She has a communication with those students far better than anyone. She can stop problems. She can support. I don't see how we can function as a district if we're going to cut out the gut of our program. We can't continue to reach achievement and become the high-performing district that we want to be if we're gutting our programs. Please think with heart and passion that these people are not just trash to throw out, but a viable part to be kept, essential part of our educational process. Thank you.
Good afternoon, board members, Ms. Dr. Rubio, and our family. My name is Tawhida Wren, and I'm the 5th grade teacher at Anna Yates Elementary School, and I'm just going to read my concerns. I'm not going to really add much of what has been said, because what has been said is the truth, and you don't need to add to the truth, it's just the truth. But we want to appeal to you to hear our truths, so you may consider, and hope that you will, rehire these people that are our family members. I'm writing this letter to express my outrage about the termination of the 2 ELD instructional assistants, Ms. Saini and Ms. Plaha. I work with these wonderful women, and I've worked with them for over 8 years. And I know their caliber, I know their expertise, and I know their love and dedication to our children. I've seen it firsthand. I'm also saddened by the release of Ms. Pamela William Hessel, our PE instructor and yard supervisor. And we were both, as we are now, in tears when she shared with me what had happened and asked me for a letter of recommendation. Yard supervision is a crucial area on our campus since we have more students now than we have space for. And she helps orchestrate the safety of our children, and we appreciate that, and we don't want to lose that from her and from our school. We need to hire people to do the yard duties, so why not her? Why not, we don't have anyone to handle that position right now. And so why not have Mrs. Hessel continue to do the work that she does very well? She knows the children. She loves the children. This is her community. Her daughter went to school here, and she has invested in this community, and we should also invest in her. Ms. Siney and Ms. Plaha have dedicated their lives as Anna Yates ELD staff and have made learning for our children equitable, accessible, manageable, easy to get to, and comprehensible through their dedication and hard efforts. Can you hear me? All right. One of the teachers shared that she has been working here at Anna Yates for over 17 years and in planning to retire, but now she's got the boot. So what are her next steps? She has to figure it out, and that's not fair. How do we support those professionals that I'm speaking about that have supported our school over a decade? Ms. Plaha sent her 2 children to Anna Yates from K through graduation at the Emery High School, and she has a daughter that has graduated from UC Berkeley, and partially to our credit, right? The parents believe, and these parents believe in our schools. They have demonstrated this over and over and over. She's not only worked here, but she sent her loved one, her daughters, and her daughters here. To fire these supportive staffs without compensating them, say with another job or by not referring them to another site, is hard to imagine. We have not supported those who have supported us. We are hiring and firing at the same time and giving signing bonuses, but we are losing some of our best. So to help alleviate this problem, we must come together and find ways to save our family and to keep our family. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wren.
My name is Connie Bai, kindergarten teacher, Anna Yates. Kind of nervous though. This year I had a very challenging class. I had several students with special needs. Over 50% of my students were ELs, English language learners, and a lot of social, emotional, behavioral, and learning challenges that arose from having a transitional kindergarten class. So that's the background. Ms. Plaha was my instructional aide, and she really helped me navigate my students towards success. She was able to assist me in pulling small groups for differentiated learning, one-on-one assistance for individualized support, and just so much more. I have also used her multilingual expertise to assist me in parent-teacher conferences, phone calls. We had a lot of just behavioral problems, and she was able to help me just navigate everything that was happening in our classroom. She really not only serves our English language learners, she helps with all of our struggling students, because sometimes the resources aren't there for us teachers. So we use what we have, and she was my resource within the classroom, and I was able to use her. In the past, I was a student teacher, and I've also worked with Ms. Siney and Ms. Hessel. And they have really, last year I was a long-term substitute, and the behavioral challenges I had in that classroom, Ms. Hessel was able to really guide me as a teacher, and basically whenever I needed that support, she was there for me. So that way I was able to help help these students achieve success, because that's really what we're there for. We're there as, we didn't become teachers for the salary. We became teachers so that we can support these kids in their education. Ms. Plaha, Ms. Saini, Ms. Hessel, they have so much dedication and just dedication to not only, you know, Anna Yates, but our school district. And I didn't even know personally that they had children that had attended Anna Yates and our school district. That just shows you how much they really care and how much they want all of our students to succeed and how much they want this school district to succeed. Our students really, I understand the cuts, but they're the resources that we have to help support these students. They're there already. And there are partners in education, and we really need them here at Emery Unified. We really, really need them. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pai.
My name is Mary Magruder, and I feel I have to support my fellow co-workers, classified staff. We have parents here, community members, teachers. Ms. Plaha, Ms. Saini, Ms. Hessel, her children went through our school. My children went through this school. I'm a community member, and I work. I started volunteering, so I found my passion for our school district. I just feel like this is abrupt. We don't make that much of an impact on the district. We do not. So please consider as you cut. I've been through layoffs. I came back to the district. I'm hoping that there's some ways you can keep us, keep our people. This is really decimating our unit. We have women who are teachers from their country. They came over and started work here. They were hired to support and teach, and they do that for our ELD students. Many of our students stay, those ELD students stay with our district. They go on to graduate and go into higher learning. I want you to please reconsider Ms. Plaha, Ms. Saini, Ms. Hessel, and the other staff members, because the workload, where would the workload go? Please consider what you're doing. We want to keep a sense of family and community. Please consider.
Thank you, Ms. Magruder.
Good evening. My name is Misha, and I'm a former student at Anna Yates, and I'm here to support our instructional staff. As an English language learner, I want to stress the importance of having the support of a teacher when you first enter a school, when you're an immigrant, when you've come here and you don't know what you're doing. Your parents have come here and they can't support you. The impact that that teacher or that mentor has on you will last a lifetime. I know that because I can speak from experience. Now, I know that a lot of the staff members have talked to you about the importance and their one-on work with the staff members, but as a student, I've told you what the importance is, but I also want to think back, and in my job in city government, what we do is I look at budget all the time, and we have to make cuts, and I know that you have to make these important decisions, because to be fiscally responsible, you have to make these choices. But if I'm going to look at cuts that I need to make wherever I go, the most important aspect of any employee is someone that has multiple values. I guess someone that has cross-training that you can use in one department and then you can use them in another, because they have the qualities to support you when you need them. And I feel like with classified staff, you get the best for your buck, because if you're paying administrative staff, you're cutting lower level positions to keep administrative positions, you can't function, because though it just doesn't make sense, because first you're cutting positions where these people do work in multiple areas. So for example, if you're an instructional aide, if you're one day your services are needed for translation, but maybe tomorrow you might be needed in the classroom because you need to alleviate a teacher to attend a meeting. Can you call on a full-time teacher to do that at that time? No, because they have their own responsibilities. Now, if you could use instructional staff to release teachers for meetings, I'll just give you an example. Would you, at that time, hire a substitute for the day, which will actually, essentially, probably cost you more to do that? Whereas you have instructional staff that can cross over into many areas and assist in various areas of the school. And being that this school district is looking at increasing enrollment, I don't think that you can increase enrollment if you don't have enough services for the students. That doesn't mean just ELD services, it means all services. But if you're looking to grow, you have to retain what you already have. And especially at a level where the income is not high versus hiring someone at a higher position, qualified, and where you have to pay more. So you have to exhaust more money to do the same level of work. The second thing I want to mention is that I understand that there's a coordinator who coordinates the ELD staff. So if you are looking at cutting the instructional aides, what would the coordinator do? Would she or he be responsible for doing all the work that the two instructional staff was doing at the cost that person comes at? So I just want to understand that if there is one person who coordinates the program, and once the school district grows, is that person going to be responsible for supporting our English language learners or just our students in general? And I just haven't quite grasped how that would work. But if moving forward, if I'm looking at the local control and accountability plan, I understand that you've proposed adding a full-time person to teach ESL classes. So again, that would come at an additional cost. And based on what I've heard today, it seems that everyone is quite satisfied with the instructional aides that are present, because as immigrants themselves, I don't think that anyone else could really understand what parents go through of a child that's an English language learner, because they're able to relate to that person. They're able to relate to a variety of demographics. They've been here obviously 15 years. I'm sure the demographics have changed significantly over time. You might have one population at one time and another population another, but they've served their purpose and they continue to do their job and they love their job. So I urge you to reconsider your decision tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, board members, I myself have had the privilege, my name is Harjeet Singh. I've had the privilege of being a student at Annie Yates at the middle school and the high school and graduating and going on to UC Davis and UC Berkeley to finish my 2 degrees. I can say I'm here to support the classified staff. These 2 individuals right here and everybody else have enabled me to further my education. I can tell you personally of several situations with 5 of my own friends who are doing very bad in school. With their guidance, they have gone on to graduate, have had successful careers, multi-million-dollar businesses, and other things as well. Not only do they provide for just the Indian individuals who go to this school, they provide for other people as well. You can say Hispanics, anybody. Throughout the years, they've honed their skills so well that it's very fundamentally easy for them to help these students now. Whereas if you hire somebody new, you have to pay them less, or if you hire somebody good, you have to pay them more, you have to teach them. My friends, I can come forth if you guys want to postpone this until next week and bring 100 students who have graduated through their hands and have gone on to college because of these 2 individuals right here. So throughout the years, classified staff and other individuals have been reduced. These few that are left have picked up their weights on their shoulders and gone on to do work that was not initially their duty. Again, I tell you, if you fire them, who's going to take care of their duties? Your SAT scores were terrible when we used to go to the school. When I started off, the SAT scores were terrible as a child. With their guidance, the SAT scores have gone up for all students as English as a second language. There used to be another individual named Dr. Hambright who used to work here. They helped him and his students go on to go to college. Different universities, different places. They have successful careers today. And to be honest, a lot of these students are still in the Bay Area in Emeryville. I personally, throughout the years, because I thought that this day might come, Not only this, but other things. I like to be oriented with the school. Whenever I have a chance, I come around. I know my older teachers. There's only 2 of them left. All the great staff has been reduced. NEH used to be a great school. Today, I can't say not so much. But that's not partly due to them. It's partly due to you guys reducing staff, getting new teachers. The old teachers that have been implemented here have been lost. They no longer, I mean, the new teachers have to come in. They have to learn how to help the students. But the old teachers already know, and you guys keep on recycling, firing people, hiring people. This is not a good thing to do. I rest my case. That's all I have to say. Have a great day.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Do we have any other public comment on this item?
Sorry. This individual right here, my neighbor in Emeryville. He's had a public meeting with 5 of my friends, and they all graduated. Who are first, it's careful.
So we have one other public comment, it looks like.
My name is Todd Britt, and I've been a resident of Emeryville for 5 years. And I have the pleasure of knowing the Plaha family, which is the reason I'm here tonight. I have seen Miss Plaha's children go through UC Berkeley and UC Davis. And I'm concerned when I hear about the layoffs of the staff. It seems like it's really going to affect the morale of the community and the staff. And I believe that the fiscal impact will be much more negative with the layoffs than it will be if you find other ways to balance the budget. I think that's all I'll say for right now.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you for coming, Mr. Britt. All right, last call on public comment on this item. Okay. It's time for board discussion, and Superintendent, do you have some?
Just some additional information from the board and for everyone who came out. Thank you for your comments. Just wanted to...
And if I could
Yeah.
ask you to address some of the comments that were raised about coverage and what plans, if any, that you would have to cover the duties of the various people who are...
I don't know if I can do that before I meet with CSEA. We've agreed to meet on that topic on Friday, but let me see. Let me address as much as I can.
At least to the extent you can.
Okay. Just for some additional information for everyone and for the board, the signing bonuses for hard-to-fill single-subject science and math teachers are not from school district funds. We have been analyzing this problem for quite a while, and just a reminder to everyone, we did lose a very large grant last June, and we did keep staff on after losing that grant. We are working hard to continue to provide many services and programs for the students. We have continued to maintain class sizes at 20 to 1 in the K-3. We have a full-time librarian, a full-time art, science, and next year PE and music positions, all to support the students and staff. So I really do wish we could do it all. I have to ensure that we are in a strong financial position, and in order to have a viable district, it is critical that we make these changes. In terms of coverage, again, that's a little difficult, President Affelt, because I have agreed to discuss that first with CSEA this Friday, so I would be hesitant to do that publicly before respectfully sitting with them.
Okay, board member thoughts or comments on this item?
Yeah, I'll say my piece. Although I understand that we need to make some changes financially to ensure that we can continue our district. In the 3 years that I've sat on the board, I have always expressed my concern about bandwidth here. I cannot vote for this until I see what that plan is. So if that needs to wait until after you meet with CSEA, then I would personally like to see this come back until that discussion can be had with the board.
The difficult part, board members, is that we have, our conversation with CSEA was based on the actions tonight, and just a reminder that our next item on the agenda is also based on these recommendations.
I understand.
Dice?
I'm in a similar position. I think, and I'm just looking at the topic for the next item. There are some clear pieces that I think we learned from this particular topic, and I do think there's some things that aren't called out to make it a little bit more transparent. So I would like to see it come back at the next meeting. I do know that that's probably a surprise, shock and awe, but I do think it's really important to have enough information to capture it. I'm not, and you know, frankly, it may not mean a whole heck of a lot. I mean, I honestly, but I think I've been sitting in this seat for a really long time, and this is not really my. I just think that there's an opportunity to display another set of another piece of data that would be helpful for me. And it's not necessarily, I mean, it definitely has and I agree with member, with Joy, I'm gonna say mama over there, but I do think it's part of making sure we have what we need. And I do know that even in our previous meeting, numbers mean a lot. Long-term, short-term, but numbers mean a lot. And I also know that it's really important to consider all the pieces. And I know there's some limitation in what we can do publicly. And I mean, I think that's absolutely respectful for everybody involved. But I would like to perhaps get a closed session. I mean, that's just my recommendation, to have a closed session to further discuss this. And if that's a special meeting, I mean, I think many of us will make make that time to do it. But again, it may not mean anything. I mean, this may be what it is, but I do think it's helpful to be considerate about our timing. We do have the next item, which I do know, and my concern is absolutely that we are even having to do a third interim. But I know that we have a deadline of June 1 for that. So I know our next regular board meeting is 2 weeks from today. So that gives us that window. I don't know from a budgeting or, from a planning standpoint, but that's just me offering a whole lot. I don't know how the rest of the board feels and the president, but I just wanted to offer my thoughts that I feel like I need a lot more. I didn't realize I needed so much more, but I need a lot more. So that's all.
I will just, and I don't, the only thing I can offer to the board is that this has been an ongoing heavy analysis for quite some time. I did alert staff last summer that I saw this potentially arising based on looking at the budget. And I don't have further data to provide to the board, closed session or open session, so I would strongly urge the board to take action tonight.
Do we have other comments? I've got some comments, but I don't
Go ahead if you want.
Yeah, I mean, I think the district, people sometimes take for granted that we have continued to invest in the classroom and in this district. We kept our schools open 180 days when most districts in the state cut back. We kept our library open. We have school nurse. We have a science teacher at elementary school. These are things that most schools and districts in the state don't do. And these investments, we have a wellness center. We have a very strong wellness program. So these investments they're costly, and we are running a deficit overall. And we do have to adopt, not tonight, but certainly by June 1, a third interim that gets us to positive certification. And we're not at positive certification right now. We're negative certification, which means we don't have enough money to be operating in 3 years, and then we get the state receivership, and we don't want to go back there. So we do need to act by June 1st and figure out what are the most strategic cuts that we can make in order to make third interim to positive certification. We're not going to increase enrollment between now and the end of May. I think we all know that. The one piece of information that we will be getting tomorrow is the May revise. Now, folks may not, who don't follow state budgets like I do in education, know what the May revise, we look at our new income that came in and they revised the budget, and sometimes that goes down. This year it's going to go up. It's going to go up. We don't know how much it's going to go up, you know, per student. We'll know a little more tomorrow. And we also know that everyone who's not in education in Sacramento, Health and Human Services, welfare, those people are saying, don't put all of that in education, give us some of that. So even whatever the governor proposes tomorrow isn't necessarily what's going to happen come June, right? So, but we will have a little more information, and we will get some more money. But it's not going to close. It's not going to cover $200,000 plus, which is sort of what we need to get to positive certification. So it's not going to get us there all the way. And as Melody says, maybe it's not going to change anything. But I would like to hear more about how we're going to cover the you know, the very staffing pieces and holes that are going to be created by the cuts. I can just tell you my own thinking is the I mean, the instructional aids, that's the closest thing to taking stuff out of the classroom. So for me, if there's a priority, you know, that's where I would start to try to keep anything, if we can at all. And we are hiring a new PE teacher next year, and you know, I want to honor Ms. Hessel's service with the district for really carrying a load above and beyond what we should have expected of her. But our students need to have you know, full-time, fully certificated PE teacher, and I will just leave that there. But those are my sort of thoughts at this point, and I think maybe it does warrant a closed session discussion, but I think you can have some preliminary conversations with CSEA or some coverage or whatever, but I think you can provide us with some more information about how we're going to cover, and we'll have a little, hopefully a little more money from May Revise, and it may not change anything at the end of the day, but we've got another board meeting to try to figure this out fully and finally. Those are my thoughts.
So I think I'm very troubled by the cuts in general, but I've always kind of felt that was sort of the district plan. You know, we talked about it tonight. The whole point of co-location is to eliminate staffing, right? I kind of trying to wrap my head around that. But I also feel like I've been in different meetings, because I feel, you know, I usually spend my time up here talking about things that weren't done, but I felt that we've had a lot of discussion on this, and a lot of discussion. So you know, I understand that we can never have too much, but I do feel, I want to second what Dr. Rubio said as that has happened. I am troubled by the lack of information. I would like to know what this equates to dollar-wise, and I don't see that on the...
It's between, Doris Sue can correct me, but I believe it's between $450,000 and $500,000. Doris Sue, am I in the right range?
Well, I think it'll be covered in the next item.
No. Yeah.
Is that right?
I believe,
I
I believe so.
we're gonna
I believe
move-
it's 450 to 500,000.
Okay. And then, I'm sorry.
494,000.
Okay. And then, so all of these people are full-time that we're talking about, all 7 positions were full-time? So 7.5-hour days for instructional assistants?
No, they're not all instructional assistants.
And so that still equates to 1 FTE?
I believe the way we do it in HR, which is normal for districts, is it equates to 1 FTE, 1.0.
Well, yeah, okay.
The IA positions are aligned with the teacher positions with 6.5 hours being a full day. The other positions, the other classified positions are 7.5 hours for a 1.0 FTE, but they are all 1.0 FTEs on the books.
Okay, that's not how I'm used to seeing it, so. And so, and I think I had other much more technical questions, but I think I think given that this doesn't sound like it's going forward, I think I'm okay holding off. So, are we up against any timelines as far as notice is concerned?
It does affect us financially. All employees in this situation are to be given 60 days notice. We are already looking at going partially into July, so yes, this will have a financial impact.
Member Merriam,
Yes,
any comments?
I do have a couple comments, President Affelt. First things first, I think we do owe the community further discussion, albeit in whatever means. Secondly, what I had kind of just one thing is the difficulty of pulling all the information into one blanket statement or blanket action, and where each of these have a special place in the community. And I think with that, it's difficult to say yay or nay on that one statement. So, and then to supplement that is how are these responsibilities going to be divvied up amongst new staff or existing staff? So those are kind of the outstanding questions that I have pertaining to this issue.
Okay. I mean, I think I'm not hearing support for a motion at this time. I'm sensing an understanding on the board that we need to get this resolved before the end of the month. The board would like some further information about, as Member Merriam said, what how the duties would be covered and the impact, and or not, because we can get by without that, or because someone else will take it up who's sort of current staff, or are we going to have to hire some new part-time staff? Or I mean, I think there's we need a little more information on that and the fiscal impact of that. But I think there's a general understanding that what you're proposing needs to be done in a significant way. Not exactly, we're not ready, I guess, to support all of this right now at this moment. But
Okay. I guess one question pertains to the next item. Do we want to pull the next item?
I think we have
do-
to.
I think we have
do
to.
we?
I
I mean,
don't,
well,
I don't
don't-
think, well,
Well, I don't
Or do
think
you
we
wanna-
can, we can
or you
move
wanna
it.
discuss it?
But don't we want to discuss it and understand what the implication, if we adopted this, what does that mean for our budget?
yeah, I actually would inform the conversation, so maybe we should leave it on and discuss it.
I see why we wouldn't though, too. 'Cause
Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, from what this current, the current plan, if I'm right, from based on assumptions that would be in terms of what was adopted, what would have been adopted. right?
Correct.
So this is gonna be projections out. I mean, maybe covered high points maybe, but I do think the numbers are definitely not what the numbers are, because there's been no action by the board.
Right, so I think it's helpful to look at these numbers, because this is the proposal.
totality, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
it's,
That sounds fine.
But
Yeah.
we're not ready to adopt it.
Okay, so it's just a
Okay.
review.
Yeah, but it does give us a sense that, well, if we didn't do any of this, maybe you can do a quick calculation, Dora Sue. If we rejected the cuts, you know, what's your back of the envelope, you know, how does that change the multi-year projection? Add in 450,000, 90,000 a year, you know, so I think it's worth
Okay.
the education of the
Okay.
board.
Let's
and the community.
continue then.
Okay?
Yeah.
Does that work for you? I know.
I just need to go to the closed room.
Okay.
Need a break.
All right. We're going to take a recess for pregnancy purposes of 5 minutes. Will that work?
Pregnant
Okay.
pause. Sorry, who's pregnant?
Baby's kicking my bladder, I gotta go.
Who's pregnant? I wonder. Look.